Welcome. God bless you, obviously. Hope so, anyway. Right. I feel a bit weird at the moment, but that's natural. So, yeah, I'm going to close down a couple of things on my computer just to not be disturbed. And then, yep, as the title of the video suggests, there's a possibility of having pretty poor luck when it comes to affairs of the heart. More so than that, I want to really take a look at the definition of unlucky and see whether it is random chance or something else. Hello. Okay, so it could be you, as it were. It could certainly be somebody that you know. It's the inspiration for, or this kind of person is the inspiration for many, let's call them romantic songs, books, poems, films, I don't know, lots of stuff. But there is, it seems on the surface, a type of person. I don't believe it's a personality type necessarily, but it is a kind of person who always, it seems, to both them and to us, is just unlucky in love. And this is potentially despite their best efforts, their best intentions, their, the wonderful things about them that we see, despite all of that. And it seems that they are able or doomed to just seemingly without end go from one hugely unsatisfying relationship or person to another without ever really being able to settle. And that can mean, settling down, or also to settle what you've got, kind of thing, to find happiness. And we can run through, I can, just off the top of my head, like the kind of scenarios that we find this, let's call them a metaphorical person at the moment, but it could well be that in their romantic past, maybe one of their partners turned out to be, married, not as single as they seemed. It could be, as I've spoken about in other videos recently, it could be the case that everything seemed to be going well, and then, like a perceived coldness from one of this person's exes. Could be that they turned out to be a manipulator. They could have been violent. They could have turned out to be an alcoholic, like an active alcoholic, a chaotic, an unstable person. And on the surface, when we consider this poor little love, whomever we're speaking of, like our instinct is to be initially like massively sympathetic and like an extended period of sympathy, as it were. Like it's, you can find yourself thinking, oh gosh, like how can somebody be so unlucky? Because it does seem like bad luck. However, if we just take more than a cursory glance at this set of scenarios, as it were, this trail of destruction, romantic destruction, more often than not, we ought to find, because random, whether we get into, whether random chance, as it were, is a thing, or if God oversees all things, it doesn't take much more than a cursory glance to see that luck, as it were, or the lack of it, can only explain some of it. Because surely, if we're talking about luck and random sets of circumstances and situations, surely, like just in a numbers game kind of way, they should have some success. They don't seem to, this kind of person. Bad luck can only explain so much. And therefore, we can conclude there must be something else at play. Like I said, I guess it depends if they're believers or not in as much as how much we attribute to God's like a direct influence. But it seems to be orchestrated. It seems somehow, even without, like subconsciously, without the person being fully aware of it, that they are in some way engendering, and it could seem that way to them. You know, people are often want to blame themselves totally for the failings of two different human beings and their like venture into relationshiphood. I feel like I just made that word up. So this unfortunate person hasn't just tripped and fell into a series of incredibly frustrating or emotionally retarded or mean-spirited partners, for want of a better word. What's actually occurring, and stick with me till the end, as it were, because you may think that doesn't make sense, but I'm going to try to, I won't say fully, but I'm going to try to flesh out these ideas as I go along. They have actively sought out a certain kind of partner and invited them into their hearts and their lives and potentially their homes, all kinds of areas of their existence, whilst at the same time ensuring that there is no possibility of a kinder or more patient or more loving or more suitable for what we would see potential candidate to ever even get a look in, to even get close. And whilst, even though I'm attributing motive, as it were, albeit subconscious, this kind of person still deserves our attention and our love and our sympathy, if not empathy, because certainly, we can grow as human beings. There'd be no point in me making this video, really, pointing out these character traits and coping mechanisms if there wasn't hope. There is always hope of emotional growth, or just putting into practice other ways of doing things. Let's find out anyway. So they're at the same, they're inviting repeatedly, pretty much the worst for them kind of person, and at the same time blocking all attempts, all possibility of what we would on the surface assume to be the perfect candidate, as it were. And whilst they definitely deserve sympathy, but not necessarily for the things that they are bewailing, not for the thing, not for the actual situation they find themselves in, because it's not rocket science. If you choose an idiot, you can't stop moaning about idiocy. So whilst we it seems to me rational. Love has nothing to do with rationality, as anyone will know, who's ever been a teenager, I suppose. But it seems on paper, as it were, or intellectually logical, coherent to assume or imagine even that what we as human beings naturally want within a love context, as it were, is another human being who will, treat us as something to be cherished, with thoughtfulness, with respect, tenderness, kindness, patience, with our best interests at their heart, etc. Not so much. They may sound brilliant. Like I say, that to me, I'm like, ooh, is there such a person? It sounds pretty okay-ish. I'll come to questions after, Ivan. And these qualities, in reality, within this certain kind of person, these qualities are liable to elicit a response or an inward process of massive anxiety, And like potentially, and I recognized this in myself, it's some years ago, feelings of revulsion. And you can't, like at the time, certainly I couldn't quite work it out because it seemed like they're so nice. They're so nice. And it kind of, yeah, it was like, and to the person certainly, and to onlookers, it can seem complex and yet pretty uncomplicated when we think of it in terms of, you know, like it should be the nicest thing that somebody, I don't know, like what examples would like touch something in you that would make you consider, I don't know, to prepare us a meal, like obviously one of the ingredients is like love, like not just fling it on the table, but like, you know, make an effort, make us breakfast in the morning, or like prepare a meal. What else? Tell us that they miss us, go out of their way to find out like how we are in you know, maybe troubling times. I don't know, show their vulnerabilities because they trust us, and that's very touching when people are able to do that. Maybe we've got like a, you know, pet names, that's quite charming and stuff. It seems again that they're like, there's not much like sweeter than that. However, when we get back to these feelings of revulsion and this massive insecurity and anxiety, the cause of this, I would suggest, is our view of ourselves. And I've switched into ourselves as opposed to this person. Maybe that's Freudian, I'm not really sure. I have actually, because I referenced myself. That's where it all came about. And these are the kind of questions that we can be besieged by at this point. Why does this other person seem to think of us in such vastly different ways than the way we secretly see ourselves? Why do they think we're worth it? Why do they seem to hold us in high regard? We, at certain times in our lives, maybe, or like at some level, may find it difficult to look ourselves in the mirror, to actually hold a mirror up to our inner selves. It's that cliche of, if they really knew me, how could they love me? Why wouldn't they reject me? I don't really like myself. That kind of vibe. How have we become so inexplicably lovely to them when, like I say, we're pretty like a loathsome in our own eyes? Why? Why do they call us beautiful? Why do they think we're kind? Why do they why do they see our heart, as it were, but we don't? Why do they think we're intelligent when we're like, you know, pretty down on ourselves? Why do we see things so differently from them? Why do they think we're thoughtful when we, you know, when we may think we're really pretty careless and a bit crap when it comes to being nice and decent? Because we, this analogous person, have past experiences of things not playing out very well. And partly it stems, as I've said before, but I need to like reinsert it into this vid. It stems from unresolved, not unresolvable, like don't panic or anything, unresolved needs that have been fostered or forged in our early childhood. And like I said before, the self, the tiny self inside us that does the loving, like in relationship senses, is no more able or less fragile than we were at the age when one of our parents or both of our parents unwittingly fostered this unmet need in us, this insecurity, this fear of abandonment, this certain knowledge that we will be abandoned or rejected, that if we show our true selves, like nobody will be there to catch us, kind of thing. And the other, like, this can happen if a parent dies, of course, or if your parents become separated, because as a small child, you just know that they're not there anymore. And then it's pretty common, even for survivors of active abuse, and I'm not suggesting this is, in that sense, to take on the guilt and the, well, this was my fault. They're not here anymore. And therefore I did something wrong. And at that point, that's pretty much set. And until you challenge that, and it's so difficult. Like, I just want to empathize with anyone who's ever tried, honestly, to think back to the, like, this is the thing. The mind will forget the words, certainly, of these interactions of when we were children. Maybe we'll remember some of them. But our hearts will not forget the feelings. Our hearts are our emotional memory, like our emotional recall is powerful beyond our intellectual processes of like recall and the subconscious filing away of information. And you'll know this is true if you ever smell a perfume that instantly reminds you of your grandmother who's passed away, or you hear a song on the radio, or it just comes into your mind and you feel like crying because maybe it was played at a funeral, or maybe it was the breakup song that you played over and over again when you were 13, or whatever it is. Even though you are no longer that person, as it were, you've, like, please God, matured slightly since then, or faced more hardship, or overcome greater odds, you are still able to lock into that feeling. Whereas if somebody says, oh, do you remember that time you broke your leg? You can remember the hospital. You can remember having the cast and maybe your classmates signing their names and stuff. But you won't be able to as fully recall the pain, the physical pain, because emotional pain is far easier to tap into, which makes relationships, so much fun. Can't believe you're not all in one. Not really. Challenging, that's what I'm going to say. So, and this can affect your, not salvation, I don't mean like, this can affect your relationship with God also. If you have unresolved needs. So what we do as adults is the small, childlike self that loves in us meets the self that loves in the other. And they're both children. And this is why you can come away from a conversation with a loved one and be like, oh, all right, then that all seemed a bit of an overreaction. Like, you can get really childish. That's why love does that to us. Not because we are regressing, but we've never evolved from that person who loves, because it's set. Can't remember which philosopher said, give me a child to the age of 7 and I will show you the man. Something like that. 7 years is still, to this day, considered the formative, like a cut-off point in formation of your character, your intrinsic ways of dealing with the outside world. So in this inner, fragile, childlike, naive, innocent, very thin ego part of you comes into contact with somebody else who, this is the other thing, it's not all doom and gloom, I promise, I'm just having a hard time in life. But because you have an Trinity, babes, the grass is always greener on the other side because it's fertilized with BS. That's right. However, let me not lose this thought. Because we are seeking, even unknowingly, to resolve the unmet needs that our parents engendered in us, not with any malice aforethought, probably. So like I say, one parent, your parents may have remained in the same house. People can emotionally abandon you and stay right where they are, as it were. That's the thing about the Bible. The Bible speaks about love in terms of it's fruit of the Spirit, certainly, but action. You find with people who either subconsciously or consciously seek to manipulate others because of their insecurities or their controlling attachment style, they can say repeatedly, I love you, whilst acting in a way that displays an opposite interpretation by this tiny little K. Let's get back to it. Oh, yeah, sorry. So what you do, because you're seeking to resolve it, you want at some level to get past this view of the world, view of significant people in your life. So you either, like, you will adopt the role of one of your parents. You will either become hugely passive and like take on far greater like tribulations. I don't know, like things that you will like either sacrifice yourself, as it were, to this commission, this mission, this thing of like I'm gonna get to the end of this. This is if you're thinking about it on a conscious level. Or you could, so for example, let's use an example, a father who is emotionally absent, who then, due to the problems, maybe divorced or just is away. That can engender in you as an adult an archetypal quality that you seek in your partner of emotional unavailability. You may feel like the person I was like analogously discussing earlier, you may feel like all this niceness is pretty sickening because you prefer to feel protected in as much as they're emotionally absent. And therefore, maybe you may not think this out loud, but you won't invest as much, or you will overly invest. But this came to me the other day and it was pretty horrifying. So there's anxious or insecure attachment type, insecure avoidant, which is like anxious I'm going to go with. And then there's avoidant, and there's fearful avoidant, which is more better for the analogy because they're more likely to engage in long-term relationships. So you feel like, unavailable is your type because, you may say to yourself, wow, it gets rid of all the nonsense and, you know where you stand, which is outside probably. However, and this is what really not chilled me, but I was like, oh, that sounds hopeful. What you can do is seek these people out intentionally, not because of a desire to fix them or fix in you this kind of need, but this is the kicker. In order that you can, like I said at the beginning, you're barring the way for like more suitable partners, people who will love you outwardly, as opposed to maybe say they love you whilst, like turning their back and wandering off that way. And what you do is you seek them out in order that afterwards you can say, wow, I tried. And because you've got an anxious attachment style, maybe you don't like vulnerability one bit. You don't like the thought of being hurt. You find it all pretty like distressing. And because you seek out those who are unemotionally available, you don't witness it in them. And therefore, there's some kind of like admiration. You think, how are they going through this without crumbling? But ultimately, you're cheating, as it were. You're saying, look, I'm trying to be emotionally available and vulnerable. Well, I tried. Never mind. Like you get to wrongly assume that you tried your best, and really you've sought out the kind of person who, unless they can recognize their own stuff, like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of the negative kind. So we get all these compliments, we get all these we don't feel that we deserve any. We may not be able to voice this. We may just cringe a little bit or make jokes to keep people far away. We may even go along with it for a little while because we may feel like we're going to turn over a new leaf. We're going to see what happens if we allow ourselves to be this small, vulnerable self that loves. However, ultimately, their attentions, in a certain sense, essentially, or have to be met with disdain within yourself. And this can cause like a cognitive dissonance, like an emotional, like, but I want that, but I'm acting this way. Like, why is that going on? And we assume them to be liars, ultimately. They're saying, you're so sweet, you're so kind, aren't you a lovely person, yada, yada. Aren't you clever? I don't know, whatever it is. And we think, lies. Burn the witch. No, that's just me. You just think, psst. Or you think, well, if you knew me. But then they get to know you and maybe they carry on saying those things, and then you're just like, okay, it's medication time. We feel sick a little when they do nice things for us. Because deep down, whether you know it or not, in this analogy, there is a certainty that we don't deserve this because we maybe didn't receive it in our childhood and therefore we blamed ourselves. So we know that we're to blame for our unearned status in this, this receipt of gifts, as it were. And that also can come into play with your relationship with God. And then then let's contrast this with a partner who isn't happy to see us, doesn't have any interest in what happened to us today, doesn't care about your childhood, is like, whatever, get over it, rather you than me, that kind of thing. Maybe, because we're all grown-ups here, I can say it, maybe they don't show a particular interest for us sexually. Maybe they flirt with others, in front of us. Maybe on some intrinsic level, you feel that you've no guarantee that the relationship will even make it to next week, let alone a connection with someone who, to be fair, I don't know whether you'd want that or not. And that sounds converse to the attractive qualities that I listed earlier that should be like what we want. This sounds pretty horrific to know. Like, it seems like a nightmare. Seems like, what fresh hell is this every day? What's going on paper? And it is all those things I just said. It is horrific, and it's not good to be in a relationship in which you are being made to feel this way. However, spoiler alert, plot twist, it's a lot less horrific than being shown an inordinate amount of kindness, because at our core, this tiny self that loves knows with a chilling certainty that we do not deserve that. Familiar misery can be familiar. That's the whole point. Change is really startlingly terrifying, just amongst humans, even good change. And so we fall back into the patterns that we, knowingly or otherwise, seek out in order to resolve them. But we don't know that they exist. We haven't admitted or verbalized the problem. And therefore, what we come away from each relationship is more certainty that we can't deserve to be happy because we're surrounded by retards. No, I'm joking. Because they may start off lovely. Most people start off nice in relationships because obviously they're on the best behavior, and you don't want to go full weirdo at the beginning in case they're not quite on board. You might want to slip in some of your kookier ideas at a later date, whilst throwing chocolate in another direction, so they're distracted while you can just hot put it. We don't feel that we deserve, and that definitely can affect your relationship with your literal parent, as in God. So we seek to resolve, to get a better handle on the thing. We don't, if you just stop right now and think of one of your parents, say maybe the one with which you are less close, and then think of the overriding feeling of your childhood, like when you're 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, that they elicit in you. And then hold that feeling, and then cast your mind to unsatisfying partners, potentially the one you've got right now, and see if they elicit that feeling in you. And it could just be, like I say, emotional abandonment. It could be rejection. It could be not feeling heard, not being good enough. Trying and trying and trying and failing. No recognition. Whatever it is, potentially, you will recognize that same feeling, and that's why you seek out these partners in order to maybe get past it, or you seek them out because you know that you will suffer sufficiently as a result of your relationship with them. It sounds odd, but people unwittingly, I'm not saying everyone's like a masochist weirdo, but you seek out what you accept the love you think you deserve. And that's a shame, because like when I was a kid and they, it's love your neighbor as yourself. And I was like, that's all right. I don't even like myself. I just carry on hating humans. Yay for me. Just skipping around. Didn't really work. But God had other ideas. But yeah, if you don't love yourself, and you're not supposed to love other people in that fashion, hashtag winning-ish. Losing. Either way, this meanness, this coldness, this unavailability, this active abuse, because, let's face it, the parents are not really to blame in this, because they also have a small self that loves in them that's been adversely affected. Nobody has perfect parents. That's the thing. Some are too loving. Some are cloyingly suffocating with insecurity, Maybe you've lost an older sibling, and maybe your parents are overcompensating when you're young and wrapping you up in cotton wool. Maybe you've never been given the chance to have negative feelings. I had that problem with my daughter. I just wanted her to be happy all the time. I couldn't stand it. If she looked visibly upset, and I would seek to get rid of that feeling in her pronto tonto, by any means. Hang on a second. I just have to reply to someone who's a right div. Sorry. So dramatic. So dramatic, people. Right. Anyway. Sorry. I don't even know where I was with that. I literally just felt quite irritated there. Where was I? If they show us this, yes, that is it, parents, yeah. And try, if you don't allow your children or your loved ones to experience negative emotions, at the moment, very recently again, I am bereaved. It's all right, because I haven't really got through the last little chunk of bereavement. So it's kind of like my constant companion. If you have difficulty witnessing upset in people that you love, you can find that, I can find that if I seek out friends and they can't deal with that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about big dramatics, just the ability to hold someone emotionally whilst they go through it, because they ought to go through it, because that's the healthy thing. But yeah, I had to have a real word with myself and my daughter, because you just can't make people smile and be happy all the time. And I feel like that probably stems from my childhood, because if you blame yourself for emotional absence, as it were, you can think, well, maybe I'm not funny enough, maybe I'm not clever enough, maybe I'm not a good enough girl. Not good enough. And then it all just compounds itself. Oh, who doesn't love a bit of love? But back to the Bible, it's an action. Just tiny things. The tiniest things. Isn't it lovely when just randomly you get a message from somebody, especially at hard times in life, but, that somebody's thought about you. Because I think about people charitably every day. I think, oh, I wonder how they're doing. Oh, I love that person. Oh, I hope they're all yada, yada. And then if I'm in a productive day, I send them the message. I say, I'm just thinking of you because you're lovely. That's it. But if you don't, that's just charm. To receive that kind of thing, even if you're having a good day, and it's just nice to be nice. Let's all get over it and just do it. God might be finished soon. You don't know. Anywho, there are always, in terms of like romantic entanglements or torture sessions, there are always, no matter what you think of yourself, there are always people, potential, I don't know, relationship material, whatever you want to call it, partners even, who are ready and able, like, to treat you very kindly and nicely, and how you deserve, not the way you think you deserve, not what you believe you deserve, but what you actually deserve. Like, love is patient, love is kind, you know, it holds no records of wrongs. It, you know, it's all things of a, I did, Mr. Brown, but I have, yeah, I'm going to come to you. I'm almost finished, I promise. So where was I? Ah, yes, your opinion of yourself is corrupted. Yeah, it just is. It's far easier to list off a massive amount of negative qualities within yourself, and it's far more difficult. I mean, if you're an egocentric, it may seem easier, but that's because you've got low self-esteem, whatever. But to get a massive list of your positive qualities is not as easy. Like, and it feels uncomfortable somewhat, because we're not supposed to, or certainly women, we're not supposed to be. I don't know, it can come off as quite arrogant if you go, well, yeah, actually, I'm brilliant. Like, I'm amazing. Don't you know? My mum told me, it must be true. That's so. Without any awareness of any of these processes, it doesn't matter how many lovely, loving, kind people God might put in your path. To be honest, like, he's pretty ineffable. He doesn't make mistakes. We do. We might walk straight past the person that he's sent into our life and just, like, trip and fall into another, like, I was going to swear then, experience, hostage situation. That's the other, like, sometimes it's so obvious that you think that can't be the answer. Sometimes God puts somebody in your life and even gives you the answers when you say, like, why is this happening? What's the blessing in this? How am I going to glorify you within this madness? He may well give you the answer. Like, you may be ready to hear what God has to say about that. He might just direct you to the Bible. You might, you know, you put your thinking cap on, and between you and the Holy Spirit, you can work it out. However, if there's another human involved, which relationship is, like the clues in the title, they've got the free will to carry on being an absolute spaz. And there's not really much you can do about it other than be patient and kind and all of the things that love is. So, wrapping up, because you know I love a waffle. If we don't know about these processes and how they go on within everybody, you can't seek to solve a problem if you can't identify it, if you don't know that it exists. If you just feel like, what are the odds? It's another retard in my life, like, potentially. You know, you just think, oh, what, is there a sale on? Like, is there an email gone round? Like, what? What? You know, you can get a pretty uncharitable view of the opposite sex, as it were. And we've become professional at dismissing people who, at their core, display opinions of us that we don't agree with. So there's a twofold, you know, steps towards recovering from this potential nightmare, like a, you know, self-flagellation contest, as it were. Small acts of kindness towards yourself. Whatever you think of yourself, God thinks differently, and he knows you better than you know yourself. If you think, but he doesn't know this. Yes, he does. He's all knowing. The clue also, again, it does what it says on the tin, all knowing, knowing of everything, all things. Include, like, so, you know, psychologically, there are things that are known to self, unknown to others. Loads of stuff. I know stuff about me that you'll never know about me. But then there's stuff that is known by others of ourselves, but not known by ourselves. And those are the things, oftentimes, when you're receiving compliments and you're like, ooh, it may very well be that you are kind, you are sweet, you are loving and patient, and all of those things, but you don't see it because that's not what you feel that you deserve, and that's not how you see yourself. So trying, even incrementally, and it's easy to say it, but it's not easy to do it, to see yourself in a more positive light, just the tiniest bit, just give yourself a teensy break. Maybe stop after an hour of beating yourself as opposed to like go the whole 2 hour. I don't know. When you try to imagine yourself, or what would you say to someone you actually loved and cared about if they spoke about themselves the way you think of yourself sometimes? What would you tell them to do? What tiny bit of like spiritually edifying advice would you hope to give them? Or what amount of patience would you have for them? I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier, and I've known her years and years and years, and like we've both had this recent bereavement that literally, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. It happened in the morning. Feels like ages. And so I just called, and I ended up like not dumping, but just rattling off a load of other stuff that I've got going on. And then right at the end of it, I was like, yeah, anyway, how are you? Like sarcastically, and she said, what are you talking about? That's what friends are for. Like, that's like, how long have we known each other? Like, just crack on, just blurt it all out, etc. So that's the thing. If I struggle somewhat to feel good about myself, I just have to, either physically or like within my imagination, ask somebody else who actually loves me what they think, and then try and suspend disbelief, as it were. And if we, so we act more charitably and loving towards ourselves because the creator of all things loves us perfectly. So we might as well have it. And then we have another decision to make if we're in a relationship, or even if we're not, like for the next one. There's nothing to say that the people you're seeking out are irredeemable. You may seek out narcissists and like emotional retards, mental midgets. I don't know what your thing is. Dibs. You may do that. Doesn't mean they're not. There's no hope, because obviously where there's Jesus, there is hope. Or if you're unencumbered at the moment by romance, that sounds like well attractive proposition. If you don't have these problems, don't worry, they're in the post. Then try to give consideration to people who are nice, because the chances are they'll turn out to be idiots as well. Like people who are genuinely think well of us. Just try. You never know what will happen. You never know. This is the other thing. Romans 8:28. That's it. All things work to the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. And God has plans for us that are not to harm us. If you find that you're in a relationship that seems harmful, I mean, if it's sexual or physical, like assault or abuse, that's harmful. The plan, I don't believe the plan at all includes, crimes happening to you. But emotional, I don't want to say abuse, an emotional inability to meet your needs. For one, it can be the other person has that small self that loves, and they have an equally challenging time, I imagine, refraining from the instincts that come with our attachment styles. They can be overwhelming. The urge to close yourself off from potential hurt, and come across as really cold and callous, it can be like it's a learned behavior, certainly, but it can be almost, just can be a massive thing to be able to train yourself ever so slightly not to do, or the urge to run towards a problem and try to, like I described earlier, make them feel okay, because it seems like the right thing to do, whilst you are ignoring your own needs, whilst you're being a caretaker. Either way, good luck with all of that. Make sure you keep a bottle of wine and some chocolate on hand at all times. And yeah, you'll be fine. So anyway, I'm back in the chitty chat. So yes, John, it's literally a saying where I live, or probably where you live as well. Yep, kindness can be perceived as weakness, but kindness is a fruit of the spirit. So everyone else just better get out of the way. It's passivity, like it's because we are to forgive. That can come across as if we have, like, it's not as easy as it seems, but it is doable. But the forgetting about it, like if we have truly forgiven, are we able to then bring it up even to ourselves when the behavior is repeated again and again and again? Because 497 times 70 is a lot of times. I don't even think Jesus means stop at that. I think he just means you might not have a calculator or a note keeping system. Just carry on forgiving is what he means. But sorry, as like love is a feeling, and it's also an action. Sorry without any real attempts, unless the person's locked into a cycle of like a self-defeating behaviors, which is we all are to some extent. Sorry without any change whatsoever, it's a manipulation. Not all manipulation is bad. Not all manipulation is conscious, but yeah, how many times are you genuinely sorry? And how many times do you just say it because you want to avoid feeling worse than you already do? Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, John. So John's saying, do they have to repent before forgiveness? It all depends. Like, broadly speaking, the only one who is offended against is God. Like, in a nutshell. Christ's first instructions were repent, meaning to turn away. Have a metanoia, a change of heart. So that, like, sorry presupposes that there has been a repentance means different things now to the way theologically it's different to like linguistically. You may be heartfelt sorry every single time you mess up. If it's a big sin, for example, you may be really sorry. In terms of actual repentance, biblically, God grants us the repentance. And I know that when I'm angry, I know like a little tiny bit of me is saying, oh, you're going to regret this, but I can't stop my mouth moving. I can't stop the blood pumping in my ears, and I can't stop the feeling of righteous indignation that accompanies it usually. And I can't, like, even subconsciously, I know I have to repent eventually. But I'm like, I'm not doing it right now. No, I don't feel it. If I don't feel it, I'm just making a mockery. I'm just lying, just to compound it all. So God grants us repentance. Within relationships, Jesus didn't say that. We are to forgive. Because the other thing, Paul speaks about it. If you want to start setting yourself up as a judge, as it were, he says you're all guilty of the same things. Like, who are you to be running around pointing out this and pointing out that when you're, if not the same things, everybody's guilty and rightfully condemned. It's only Christ that saves us. It's not our actions. It's really so much not. Like, we're not even judged. We're not judged at all by the same standard as unbelievers. We're in a different book. Our deeds are in no way going to condemn us or make us more worthy of salvation, because it's already a done deal. And that doesn't mean we just have a free pass and we just go out like murdering and stealing and dishonoring parents and coveting oxes and whatever. I don't know. But it does mean, the law made nothing perfect. That's biblical. Sin is technically transgression of the law. We're not under that covenant. So in real terms, when it says go and sin no more, because we're indwelt by the Holy Spirit, we have the greatest commandments written on our hearts, and those are just love. Like, I don't want to break it to anyone who's not very lovey, but you better get on board, because you got, love God. That means you don't want to dishonor him, you don't want to blaspheme, you don't want to put any other god before him, because you love him. And we have to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So if you don't love yourself, get on board. Like, God loves you enough to die for you, even if you were the only person. It won't feel comfortable, but so what? I'm pretty confident it wasn't very comfortable on the cross. But there is no greater love than a man laid down his life for that of his friends. And Christ wasn't ashamed to call us friends, or actually brothers and sisters. Right, Steve? So, if you feel put upon, if you feel like the responsibilities within a relationship, obviously I'm talking about of having to love someone, if you feel like obliged, like you're doing it begrudgingly, get over yourself is my advice. Just get over yourself. There isn't enough time. Literally, a friend of mine died yesterday. Another one died on Saturday, just gone. Prior to that, like it feels like every 20 minutes, but it's not. You won't have time. When they're gone, and they may just be physically absent from you, when they're gone, you will gain a greater perspective on what you could have said and how you could have positively impacted, somebody's existence, somebody's day. You can make somebody's day, or you can, and that day can, then they can then make somebody else's day, or whatever. The world is a slightly less dark place if we make a little effort. And conversely, you can, really double down and make someone feel like, I don't want to say the word, but you can do that. And then potentially, who knows, like it's like a ripple effect. It just goes outwards. That is the reason the Bible doesn't say, by the way, just spit in their face quickly. It doesn't say that. It doesn't. Love everyone. Like it. That's it. Don't judge them. Don't. What else? Don't judge them. Feed the poor. Respect the widows. Treat everybody with love. However, the house of faith more so, like fellow believers more so. When one suffers, we all suffer. Why are we adding to that nonsense? Satan's already... What? Like, whose side are you on? Let's just, what I mean? When we rejoice, others rejoice. If we rejoice, like we can spiritually affect the body of Christ. I don't know if you've noticed Nigeria at the moment, but get a machete chopped up, set on fire just for Jesus. That's it. And in some of the hostage videos of the many, many, many clergymen who are like kidnapped and beheaded, the one guy who I'll never forget, he kind of like God like got me to see that as I was entering into the foray of publicizing persecution. And I was so impressed. Like, he's sitting there with all the crap Islamic shizzle behind him, and obviously like a gun trained on him, or whatever. And regardless of all of that, he was asking for forgiveness for his captors. They still beheaded him. They don't care, because they're scumbags. And they need the Holy Spirit to give them a quick slap and bring them into the fold where we can all love them properly. But yeah, like, I was so impressed that even under the most obscene pressure, he wasn't renouncing Jesus. He wasn't doing anything other than Jesus asked him to. So yeah, if you think it's too much trouble to throw out a cuddle every now and again, or double check on someone. My neighbour, not my friend, two friends who died within the last few days. What are we now? Last week, somebody who lives somebody was found dead in their apartment after some days. Just saying, nobody's guaranteed this afternoon, let alone tomorrow. So why don't you double check on people that you love, or who love you? Just, it's so nice to think you're being thought of, even if you're in the most obscene amounts of grief and like anguish and suffering. it's not going to change anything. It's not going to bring the person back to have a text message saying, oh, I'm just sending you some love and, you know, God bless or whatever. But it makes a massive difference. And it feels to me, when I don't do those things, I think of them and then I don't get round to it. And I like feel like, oh, it's a bit crap. Like, wouldn't you love that if someone, you know, we shouldn't treat people how we want to be treated because of all the other crap I just told you about what's going on beneath the surface. But it's nice to be nice, and it's a blessing to be a blessing, and it's lovely to be loving. And we've got Jesus loving us, so we're sorted, really. Right? Just do it. You know, it makes sense. Anyway, you got any questions? Because I'm now on one. Just bunnying away. Questions, and then I reckon I've got 4 mins. Thank you, Andrew. If it's anything to do with saying stuff or bunnying, talking, I'm your girl, basically. Very difficult to understand people who go quiet at times of, like, you know, emotional distress. I'm like, surely something's going to come out in a minute. How can they internalize everything? Ivan is asking, could we also label you as an activist? To what extent, Ivan? Like, I am active in certain arenas. I try to raise awareness of persecution of our brothers and sisters, certainly. I do things other than on screen, as it were. I've been to protests and, you know, rallies, etc. But I'm not like one of those rent-a-mob people, like a flash mob just shows up in London every 25 minutes. I don't get the email. But yeah, the last, I think Bob and I attended pro-life thing years and years ago. I was committed to a certain cause, which was resolved, and legislation was passed for that. So, I mean, I'm definitely active, but I feel like in my mind, activism, I don't know if it's got a nice ring to it, if you know what I mean. Thank you, Trinity. I know quite a few people off the top of my head who don't feel that way, which just really helps my self-esteem and ties into what I've been saying. Thanks. It's one of those things, like Bob turned up at the park literally just as Jay Smith left, and then Bob had a little sabbatical, and then I came along. I feel like God likes a chatter. Definitely down there anyway, or a big mouth, or a loud mouth. But yeah, that's a nice thing to say. Thank you. Oh, isn't it nice to be nice? I mean, not too much, obviously, because I'm tough. I don't know if anyone caught the email, the memo. But yeah. Right, so you got a minute, I reckon, before I press this button. I'll be back. Don't panic. I mean, I don't mean like in a Jesus way. I just mean I shall return like to this little box on your phone /PC/TV. I have a prem actually uploaded. I kind of cheated. It's 2 previously seen things that were connected, so I edited them together. Because whilst I've been feeling like this, whilst I've been had moments of like unendurable like pain, grieving thing, whatever that is, numbness, waves of like, you know, I felt like I could, like, as you may all know, I may have cried on a live stream or 3. So I wanted to make sure there was like backup shiz on the channels, because it's not really a good look. You know what I mean? It's all right, but it's not cheerful. So yeah. Really, Ivan? Do you know what? Yeah, that's so odd that you mentioned Danny Kaye, because I was listening to there were different times. There are certainly different times a long time ago in terms of what was acceptable. I'm not into this nonsense, like this anti-free speech, have to call men, women have to say that black people at one point were people of color, colored people, brown, black. Like, who cares? Like, get over it. Jesus said neither Jew nor Gentile. But I won't have people telling me what I can and can't say. And it's the motivation of your heart anyway. But because if you think of it, if you can't say a word, you can't repeat it. You can't go and report it to the thought police, because then you said it as well. Either way, Danny Kaye, there's this one song. It's like, to my ears, my granddad, that's his era. He's passed away now as well. But it's pretty near the mark in terms of social justice, warriorship. But yeah, thanks, Dragon. I can't believe it's the weekend already. Every week. It's like Groundhog Day. I fully expect to walk out of my house, thanks glasses, and see Ned Ryerson. In the film with Bill Murray. He's like, every morning, Ned Ryerson. I just wonder if I were to walk out and he was there, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, every week it's Thursday again. Something. I know it's Friday, but yesterday it was Thursday again. And I'm like, but what happened to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? What? Like, when you're a kid, even having to go to bed early, or if you're not allowed to play outside one day, that's like an eternity stretching off into what will I do? Like 6 weeks holidays from school is basically like a year. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's just Thursday again all the time. And then you think, oh, we'll all be dead soon. Maybe sooner than you think. No one's got any tomorrows that are guaranteed. And then I'm like, what's the point in being an absolute spastic during that time? Why don't you just love each other? Why don't you just do the hard things that, like, we consider these sufferings nothing in comparison to Christ. If you're having a hard time, I'm very sorry about that. Like, so am I. But there's the right thing to do on paper. If you can't find it in the Bible, like in a satisfactory to yourself and the Holy Spirit, like a way of justifying your decisions, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know, man. I feel I'm a bit of an activist. I feel a bit passionate about love and treating other people like in a way that edifies them. I'm not always good at it, one bit. My sense of humour can sometimes be a bit cutting. Exactly. Somebody died, another person. On my birthday last year, I had the this was my great idea. I thought I'll go out the night before my birthday when I'm young enough to still enjoy it. Whatever. And I came home. I hope my mum's not watching. Early hours of the morning. And basically they brought another one of my neighbours, never moved to my area. Fully dead. Like, shockingly dead. It wasn't good. Like, they looked like a black and white photo by the time they were brought out. And, that was pretty sad, family and stuff. And yeah, it's just sad. And then, like, if someone put me on the stand, as it were, and asked me how long ago was that, okay, in my mind, it seems like about 5 months, 6 months ago. And it's been a lot longer than that. And I just don't know where the time goes. I feel like you get distracted by some other catastrophe. And then you're like, oh my gosh, how can that be either more than a year or coming up to, you know what I mean? Like, all of it. My grandfather's been dead for so long now. And it doesn't seem like any time, really. Like, it's a shocking, when I think about the actual year, I don't feel even as old as I am most of the time. Like, I feel like when I think about the kids, big grown men with beards now, that I grew up with, like when we were kids, in my brain, I still think of them as like 12. Happened to me not so long ago. There was a big dude with a big butch guy with a beard and a dog and everything. And obviously I'm looking at the dog, it's really cute. I thought, I know that face. And then he was like, you're okay? And I was just like, I couldn't I couldn't believe he was a big grown-up man with a beard. He could have shaved it. I still wouldn't have believed it. It's just, and then you're dead. Yeah, so so there's always that. Who hasn't got time for a little bit of emotional bullshittery? Who hasn't got time? What? God, there's ages yet. Let's all make each other miserable. Come on. You know you want to. I ain't got time. I haven't got time. I have got time because I'm a bit of an idiot, but I don't want to have that kind of time. Cherokee, I always check for the little bits of string or the, like the Life of Brian. Check they haven't got a false beard over their beard. All right, Piggy. Oh gosh, Carol, but the blessing in that, I love the somewhat nutty. I think that's a brilliant adjective. That's a compliment. But that means that she had a year of, you know what I mean? Like a friend. It's nice to, I don't know, like what, like the antidote to loneliness or feeling unappreciated, like is meaning. Like the opposite of sadness isn't happiness, it's meaning, having a meaning, having a purpose, having that kind of thing. So that lady, bless her, somewhat nutty woman, she had something to look forward to every day. Like, how can that not be the most massive blessing? Oh my God, what are you bunnying on about, kid? Oh, talking to other people, sorry. Jonathan, I'm not in love with ... question mark, that's for sure. God bless you as well, oh my God. I love your spelling. Do you know what? I used to have OCD, I still do. I get like a cognitive dissonance when I see bad grammar or spelling mistakes, or like it makes me feel physically uncomfortable. But somehow, some people, such a good effort. Like it's such a good way of. Oh, bless you. What are you growling about, Steve? What's going on, Steve? Steve, talk to me, kid. Yeah, Carol, that's the thing. Like, there's no downside to loving people, even if they are absolute mental patients. Like, there is no downside, because even though love is definitely an action as well as a little fluffy feeling, or the most horrific pain you'll ever feel in your life, depending on the day and the amount of chocolate. The more you give away, the love you give away is the only love you get to keep. Like, so it's a two-way street. Steve, I know. And when Steve is very, like, when you help people, Steve, you should try to, I don't know, if you were, for instance, writing on a blackboard for posterity, you should basically just video call me every day, and I'll very helpfully point out the lack of an apostrophe, for example. Jonathan, I don't know what you mean, my love. I just feel like this is live, and I have. What you're chatting about is what I'm asking, but it doesn't mean I'm going to answer you. Oh, nope. Sorry, babes. I did answer your thingy earlier. I haven't got the headspace. I really don't want you to disappear, because I love laughing. Like, I really do like feeling happy, but sometimes, like certainly yesterday, I just didn't have it anywhere in me. Like, I just feel so empty each new death and stuff. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, it's nice to know people are there, but sometimes the pressure is like to perform or to seem emotionally balanced is too much for me. No, I didn't answer that, Jonathan, but thanks for taking such a keen interest in my in the emotional disturbances I endure. Bless him. Yeah, I know, but it was the dot dot. You said with. Okay, I'm off my meds. I don't know, Jonathan. Sorry, babes. That is true, especially if you're in Scotland or England. It seems. No, God reigns on yeah. Sun always shines on TV. That's what I've heard. That's exactly it. Open secrets, but still, you do a little bit. You don't want. Listen, there are people who you can have like literally be crying so much the snot is, like all the joys of friendship. But then it's like what I was saying at the top of the bid. Sometimes you don't feel like you not to deserve, but it can feel disrespectful for the person who's like passed away if you're actively seeking out feeling. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be able to laugh really. Like you love laughing, but maybe I don't know, like just a quietness or like a loneliness, but then you feel like you deserve that or something. I don't know what it is, babes. I don't know. I got a few answers. I don't want to get carried away. You know what I mean? But mostly when I pray about stuff, I do get answers, just like I say. Other people can't necessarily see them. That's why the Bible is a godsend. Jonathan, for rumours. They're never good ones. Like, I got a couple of friends who's trolling, but they're convinced that I should be in a relationship with somebody, like maybe who you all know. And I'm just like, are you mental patients? Have you escaped recently from a secure psychiatric facility? Like in real life, it's just such a no that it's not even hilarious. It's funny, but it's quite disturbing. Right. Thank you, Ivan. I may listen to that. Let me think what song I was. Oh, yeah, I posted a song every time we say goodbye because I was a bit maudlin. But let me look at my music list and see the most recent what I added, and then I'll be able to tell you what I think is a nice song. Let's see. Sorry, do excuse me while I'm looking at my phone. Oh, I can see my own live stream. That's bizarre. Right, anyhow, music. Right, the last thing, I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds. Let me just flick through. Gee whiz. I like music. What can I say? Sorry, I add them at such a rate. Sometimes I forget what's at the bottom. Oh gosh. Okay, One Last Love Song by the Beautiful South is there. Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood, Nina Simone. The Temptations. I love that. I love that tune. That one. I know you want to leave me. But yeah, I'm going to stop singing. But that one. Yeah, I seem to have gone through a bit of a House Martin / Beautiful South / Motown phase last few days. Christina Aguilera got in there somehow. Black Eyed Peas. Coldplay. Yeah. Bit of a challenging time for me lately. But God, like, thank God we're not Muslim. I mean, obviously, but we can listen to music. Yes, Leo. It seems like maybe, yeah, not like they're not. No, I wouldn't think of them if somebody said like what your favorite music bands are. They wouldn't come up in the list, but a couple of their tunes, like one of them, I can't listen to it. It was played at a funeral once. I can listen, but not without heavy amounts of like sobbing and that kind of stuff. But funny enough, Ivan, yes, the Andrew Sisters. I was listening to something not long ago. Do you know what we're going to have to do? I've decided. Maybe not before the funeral. Maybe before the funeral. I'm going to do like a StreamYard stream, and I won't even bother trying to monetize it, obviously. And then we'll just have a karaoke, like a karaoke, but obviously with. I mean, I would be good as one of those radio presenters because I've been talking all the way through it. But yeah, Should have a little music / laugh-a-thon. No, I really would, but the chance would be a good thing. Like, it's all right getting bored of soppiness, but might be nice for 20 minutes. I don't know. Nope. There's a thing called, look it up, people. There's a thing called sapiosexuality. It's just 2 words thrown together as one does. But it means finding intelligence attractive. Not as opposed to looks or niceness or whatever, but like a prerequisite of being attracted to somebody for certain, like, you know, sapiosexual type peoples is having a brain. But that's the thing in relationships. You do that kind of, not dumbing down, the sort of baby-ish element. I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't have to be the same academic. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to. It doesn't have to be academic. It just has to, emotional intelligence is pretty darn rare and important. So yeah, Carol. That's one of those tunes that's quite poignant. The Coldplay one. I got some blinders. There's one called The Departure Suite, and it was in The Leftovers, the show, and it's one of the most moving pieces. I had to choose. I didn't have to. I was honoured to choose the musical arrangement for an uncle's funeral last year, and a adagio with strings is one of the ones that, like, that's also beautiful. I feel like it's been in a movie. It has. But the classical music is really overlooked. Like, it can really say, even though there's no lyrics, it can say stuff. I've got the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic as well. And that's just like, it's so beautiful. It's got like a little bit of a musical arrangement, but it's just lovely. I made a little playlist for somebody once who couldn't sleep. Probably never listened to because whatever. But I'll dig those out. So they're very like calming and charming and nice. Leo, I used to love a bit of Barry White. I'm going to listen to him this afternoon. Do you know what? I'm feeling a bit better. I'm going to start blasting my tunes when you're all gone. Do a bit of housework for a change. Because, it doesn't do itself. No elves break into my home in the evening while I'm sleeping and do all the heck. This is not Snow White territory around here. I can't. Yeah, I haven't. There's some things that are too lovey-dovey for me. I'm like, whoa. Like, I feel the vulnerability and I'm like, ooh, no. I mean, I could try it, but Barry, Bazza, they did something in tube stations, like underground train stations in London, certainly on the outskirts. I was like, they're playing classical music. I was like, oh my gosh, it's all right. I was thinking maybe they're trying to calm people down on Monday mornings, but when I inquired, or I found the thing on the website, it's to stop like youngsters hanging around the station because it's not cool. Like, it cramps their style, basically. So that was a good idea. No, I don't even know what. Oh, I don't know, babes. You're doing a whole big monologue. I can't scroll up. I'll see that tomorrow. That's nice, Leah. That's right. I reckon maybe I'll take requests. In fact, I'm going to start a playlist now. I love a little thing. So normally, I'm not blaming dead people or anything at all, but usually, I wake up feeling happy. Like, that's a miracle in and of itself. I'll tell you that one day if I ever do my testimony. But I wake up with a song most days, and now for the last, like, this wasn't a sudden. Either of these recent deaths weren't sudden. Like they're coming, and I haven't woken up feeling myself for a little while now, but it'll come back. Please, Jesus. So yeah, I'm gonna make a playlist. It's gonna make me happy while I'm doing it anyway. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna press the button because I went way over time. Sorry, and I'm just I've got real life responsibilities and all that. All those blessings. I ain't even joking. I just realised what I'm trying to moan about when I'm not getting macheted or chopped up or raped, set on fire, dying. Okay. Bon appetit, Ivan. And yeah, if you've got any, maybe I'll put a little post up as well. Ask. Yeah, I did. I will. I did do that with favourite comedy films because I was feeling like pretty down that day. But okay, I'm going to press the button. I'm going to do a post. What's your favourite, like 1 or 2 tunes? But I can't promise they'll be there because I'm the most important when it comes to. Oh, yeah. Thanks, John. It's a blessing you're always here, love. And Andrew. I know Andrew's a time traveller, as it were. He's in a different time zone, so I can find that nice that you can, break up your day, as it were. Oh, I just got a message from one of my Canadian friends. What a coincidence. Right. Lots of love. Try to be kind to yourself. And then once you feel a bit better about yourself, try to be kind to other people. Because like I say, you don't know if the things you say to them today might be the last things you ever get a chance to say. So make sure they're not like idiot things, really. And if we are nice to ourselves, like we're only going along with what Jesus was to us. I will try my hardest, Leo, but only because you said so. Thank you. No, really. Sounds like a swell idea. Just as long as no idiots get in the way. Even if they do, I'm going to rise above it. And I've run out of chocolate. This is serious, but it's not your problem, people. But I shall be having to venture out into the madness in order to procure for myself some artificial happiness, as I like to call it, chemical hugs. So yeah, the world may be safe once I've got there and got home again. All right, lots of love. And Cherokee, I love you, kid. I really do. I want to know everything that's been going on recently, immediately, if not sooner. But apart from that, enjoy your day, everybody. And see you soon. God bless. Ciao. Bye.